Hi, my name is Matt Cooksey, and today I'm going to show you how to install the Q-tap. So using the template, this is the template for the drip tray, the tap and the countertop buttons. What you need to do is just mark the center points of each of the holes you need to drill. Just make sure that you have clear room underneath the counter, so that you're happy that it's not going to be affected by anything underneath the kitchen top, and you're happy that the tap is square to the buttons. And then all you need to do is just mark the center of each of the holes. And then you can remove the template. You've got your holes marked where you need to drill. And what we do, we get the hole saws and the drill bits, and we drill through the kitchen counter. So making sure all the surface is clean from the dust and the sawdust. You can thread your pipe through the hole you've cut. Feed it nice and gently through. Try not to knock the labels off. And then as you come through, you'll see on the bottom of the tap here, there's a seal, a rubber seal around that collar. That's going to be your seal around the kitchen counter, so no water can get through. And then we connect it up from the underneath. We're going to now lock the tap into place. So at the bottom of the tap, you have to put on the O-ring, then the washer, and then the locking nut. So you have to slide those up the pipe. Slide those up the pipe. So once you're happy that the spout is where you want it over the drip tray or over your sink, if you choose a Phillips screwdriver, just nip up those locking screws. And then your tap is nice and secure. So what you need to do before you put the drip tray in the hole that you've cut, you just need to put a small bead of silicone all the way around the outside edge of the drip tray. And then if you put it in the hole, and then make sure that your drip tray is nice and square to the kitchen counter. That's your drip tray fitted. You just need to make sure that the silicone goes off, and then we'll fit the buttons. Okay, so now we're going to fit the Q-touch pad. So just in the packet, you get your touch panel with your wire and also your small fitting kit. So in the fitting kit, just have 2 threaded bars, 2 nuts and 2 washers. So you need to screw threaded bars into the holes on the back of the touch panel. do those up hand tight. You don't need to get any pliers or anything on there. Then making sure there's no kinks or anything in the cable. The hole you've drilled, drop the cable through the hole. Making sure the panel's the right way up. Just that way. So we're just going to put the nut and the washer onto the threaded bar that's coming through the kitchen counter. Spin those up by hand. And then just use a 7mm socket just to tighten them up. You don't need to go too tight. If we just move the cable out of the way so we can install the machine without damaging the cable. And we're going to now connect the mains water supply. On your pre-installation, you should have had an isolator installed onto your potable mains water. You get this fitting in with the installation kit. This is a 1/2 inch BSP fitting. Goes onto the end of your isolator. That just needs to be done up by hand. Doesn't need to be over tightened. Then your blue pipe in the kit also clips onto the end of that, and one of your little blue locking clips goes in at the end. Keep that isolated until you're ready to commission the system. Okay, so this is our feed from our RO system that we're going to be feeding the Q-tap with. So we need to just take the feed from the RO, connect it to the blue pipe that we've been given in the fitting kit, and then feed it through the back of the cupboard, round to the connections where the drip tray. So this is our feed from our RO system. We connect that into one side of our leak shut-off valve in the drip tray, and then we'll bring a pipe from there out of the other side of the leak shut-off valve up to the feed on the machine. Okay, so we've got feed from our RO system going into one side of the leak shutoff valve. We've got blue pipe, which is in the kit. The other side, that's going to come up and go to the RO in label to connection on the machine. So I've cut enough pipe off to give myself a bit of slack, so when the machine goes in, I've got plenty of pipe to play with. So we're going to fit the saddle clamp, which comes in the install kit, to our waste pipe. This is 40mm waste pipe. You've got a hole as close to the top of the waste pipe as you can get. If you have to come at a bit of an angle, it's not too bad, but you don't really want to be going like that because you could cause a water leak. So you just want to come in as close to the top of the pipe as you can get. Make sure the surface of the pipe is as clean as you can get it. Take your install kit, this part here, you just need to make sure that the clamp fits around the pipe. Which that does. It can go up and down in size, So if the pipe's slightly small, you're okay, or slightly big is okay. You get a little sticky pad. The centre of that sticky pad comes out, backing comes off. And you put the sticky side onto the curve of the top of the saddle clamp, so you can still see the hole. And what you do, you get your drill, you just drilled the hole with. If you use the smooth end of the drill, put that into the clamp, and then you know that the hole is lined up, because you can use the back of the drill into the hole. Get the bottom of the saddle clamp, put that on. Drop your fixing bolts through. And attach. The nuts. And the nuts locate in the bottom of the saddle clamp. There's little cutouts so they're fit into. Use a Phillips screwdriver just to tighten it all together. And just give it a little twist. The drill bit comes out, and then you've got your hole going through into your pipe, but it's got the seal that you stuck in there to make sure no water leaks through. That's your saddle clamp fitted. Okay, so I'm going to just show you the connections at the back of the system, just because when it's in the cupboard, you're not going to be able to see. So you've got your condenser drain labelled here. It's got a little protective blanking plug on there. That just comes off. And then in your kit, you had your blue pipe and your little rubber sleeve here that slides over the top of the blue pipe. That just connects onto your pipe sticking out of the back of the machine. So you've got condenser drain, you've got your rubber pipe, which is sleeved over the top of your blue pipe. This is all in the fitting kit. And then you're given 2 cable ties in the kit as well. This is just to hold everything in place. And then you've got your connector there for your cable, but we can do that once it's in the cupboard because there is a small locating pin, which I'll show you on the cable once we get round to it, that you can plug in afterwards. This is your mains power lead that we're plugging to the power in the cupboard. And then you do have a fuse there. The fuse is already fitted. If when you plug it on it doesn't work, possibly check that fuse first. So the pipe on the back of the system labelled condenser drain. We've got the blue pipe with the silicone sleeve over the top. We're going to run that through to our drain, which we'll go through the fitting of that in a minute. So that can just tuck through the back of the cupboard. And then this was our pure water feed that was on the left-hand side of our leak shut-off valve at the back. So this gets connected to our RO in. It's labelled RO and mains in on the top of your machine, which is this one here. It's just a little blue locking clip. and then a little plunger just to stop anything getting in there. And if you use a pair of pipe cutters, cut the pipe down and then connect that in, making sure it's in nice and tight. You can put the little blue locking clip back in place. That just helps prevent leaks in case the pipe gets knocked. Right, we're going to connect the pipework from the tap now down to the system. This pipe's clearly labelled vent, which connects to the port on top of the system. It's marked vent as well. Take the little rubber cover off. Just measure that down with your fingers. Don't have it pulled tight. Just have it so that there's a little bit of slack, but you don't want a bow or anything like that in the pipework. Cut the pipe and then push it. And then fix in place the supplied cable tie. And then the next pipe labelled on your tap is boiling out. You're going to be connecting that to the port on the system that's labelled boiling out. Once again, measure the pipework with your fingers. Don't have it so the pipework's tight. Give yourself a little bit of slack. Cut the pipe. Slide the little collar back over the pipe. Force the pipework over the nipple on the top. Make sure that's nice and tight. Let's pull it in. And then the last connection is labelled on the tap, which is chilled out. That's going to go onto the port that is marked chilled out, which is this one. Take the little blue collar off. Bung out. Once again, measure the pipe. You don't want it too tight. Try and keep the label on the pipework in case you need to remove it. Push in, making sure that collar's lifting up, and then you can put the little locking blue collar in place, which prevents leaks. So that's your tap now connected. Just connect the pipework for the condenser inlet. This is what's used to chill the water in the machine without having to vent the system. So we take the collar off. Try and measure it as best we can. And then making sure we put the collar over the pipework first. Push it down over the nipple on the top of the fitting. If you just nip that up hand tight, you don't want to over tighten it. So the last connection on the system is the CO2. Just connect your blue pipe that you get with the fitting kit and then attach that to your gas regulator that comes with the kit as well. Just making sure that both those connections are nice and tight. Okay, then we're just going to attach the gas bottle to the bottom of the gas regulator. Screw that on. Give it a hiss. Keep screwing until it goes tight. You don't need to over tighten that. That's your gas bottle that connected. This has got a gauge built in. Just turn it clockwise until you get your gauge up to about 40 psi. And leave a little bit of slack with your blue pipe, just so you can change the bottom. We're going to connect the drip tray to the waste pipe now. So I'm going to thread you need to try and make sure that silicone pipe doesn't have any kinks in it or any dips in it, so the water sits in there. So you need it with a nice straight feed to your outside drain. We're now going to switch the system on, and it will run through a procedure just to get water through the system and water into the boiling tank. You don't need to do anything to the system, you just need to switch it on. So you just press the on button for 3 seconds and you should get a double bleep. Leave that. You may hear some noises from inside the under counter system where it's just pumping water through. And it's just going to take just a little while just for it to run to temperature. Normally takes about half an hour to an hour.